anyways, thank you very much. We're getting ready up here. But this time I'll declare the meeting come to order and welcome everyone and ask everyone to remember your electronics. If it's on, please shut it off so it won't bother the council chambers. And I'll ask if there's any conflict of interest amongst the council members. Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the public presentations with the labor dispute at Essex County Library, I am in conflict and will sit in the audience.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Motion carries. And I'll turn the meeting over to our clerk, Mr. Roger.
Your Worship, we're at adoption of published agenda. I just have a couple of corrections to quickly make. This special council meeting held earlier tonight with respect to the election of a deputy mayor was held from 4 o'clock to 5:30. And then at 5:30 tonight, council conducted a closed meeting to discuss proposed acquisitions of land pursuant to section, and this closed meeting was held pursuant to section 239C of the Municipal Act, and that was at 5:30 this evening. So just a couple of corrections to the published agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Any other additions to the published agenda?
Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, under new business, I would like to bring up something on ATVs on our public roads. Maybe I don't even have to bring it up. We asked for a report back, I don't know how long ago, for a report on ATV use on our public roads. And I'm getting a lot of calls from residents out my way, and I'd like to know what happened to that report. I know it come in front of council before, and we've never ever received a report back from administration. So I'd like to speak on that if I could.
Okay, we'll bring that up under new business.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item 4 on the agenda this evening, adoption of minutes. Adoption of the minutes from the July
By Councillor
Point of
Bondi,
order.
supported by,
I don't think we've made a motion for the agenda.
didn't we?
Yep. Your Worship, yes, adoption of published agenda, looking for a motion to adopt as amended.
Councillor Caxaro and Councillor Snively. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Now, Your Worship, item 4, adoption of minutes, July 4th regular council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Bondi, Councillor Bjorkman supports. Any questions? All in favor? Oh, Councillor Vokes. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Motion carries.
Your Worship, item 5, public presentations. Our first presentation this evening is from Lara Klimko, a resident of the town, to present her concerns on behalf of the taxpayers as it relates to the labor dispute between the County of Essex and the County of Essex library staff.
Okay, welcome, young lady. The purple button.
Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Veteran, are you?
Good evening,
Thank you
members
very much.
of council, ladies and gentlemen of the gallery. My name is Lara Klimko. I am a resident of Harrow, Ontario, and a taxpayer to the municipality of Essex. I have not been able to enter my local branch of the Essex County Library since June 25th. And while this is a great inconvenience to me, I cannot help but be concerned for those citizens of the municipality of Essex for whom this closure is more than a mere inconvenience. For our most vulnerable community members who do not have the luxury of central air in their homes, who do not enjoy Wi-Fi or internet, who cannot afford real books, and who are otherwise economically disadvantaged, this labor dispute is particularly onerous. The elderly members of our community depend on the library as a place to cool off, to have non-judgmental instruction in computer skills so that they can have access to online social media. And speaking of social connection, an encounter with friendly library member of staff may be their only meaningful personal exchange of the day. Young families who do not have the means to send their children to camps or to other paid programs are missing out on the Summer of Discovery Reading Club. These programs offered for free help stave off the loss of literacy skills children can experience over the summer break. Shame on the Essex County Library for promoting paid programs on their website. It is a slap in the face to disadvantaged families. Residents of community living enjoy the library as a destination for outings, research, and entertainment. They are being turned away this summer as well. Visitors, tourists, and vacationers enjoying our beach communities this summer have been finding locked doors instead of internet access to check in with loved ones or to pay bills. They cannot check out stacks of DVDs for their quiet cottage nights in. What impression will they be taking home of Essex County as a summer destination? Essex residents are not able to enjoy the services which they fund in good faith. Emails and phone calls to councilors and board members are not being answered in a meaningful way. Those taxpayers and voters who are being ignored have long memories, and they will not look kindly upon those they elected to represent them. Essex Council should be speaking on behalf of Essex County residents, especially those who are most vulnerable. I am asking this council and your worship to insist that the library board return to the bargaining table for meaningful negotiation, not merely a reoffering of their unreasonable deal. Make some movement. The Essex County Library website was recently redesigned to include the motto, "Connecting Communities." By refusing to negotiate, they are ignoring their own mandate and disconnecting communities. Libraries are essential for the intellectual and cultural development and technological literacy of our community. By depriving the voters of these services for which they have paid, you are not only doing a disservice to them, but to yourselves, as the electorate will make their feelings known on Election Day in 2018. After reviewing County Council documents and previous agenda, I have come to understand that the main crux of the labor dispute, sick time, is fully funded and fully vested. There can be no savings to the library board, which is the library's employer, under this proposed scheme. As this is a non-issue, this, therefore, is an unnecessary strike. Please do the job for which the people of the municipality have elected you and open up our libraries. Thank you very much for your attention tonight.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, to the board and to the members, I agree that I would love to see a resolution by the end of this week. Let's get back to the table and let's get a deal, and let's get the people back in the libraries again. That's all I got to say, but let's work to
Thank you,
a
Councillor.
solution.
I have Councillor Volkson and Councillor Snively. Sorry, Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, Worship. I think what's extremely important here is to understand what we do as a council. And our job is, as we all know, to the members of QP, is certainly not to intervene with the collective bargaining process. It's not our intent, nor should we be doing that. But the reality is I don't believe that the collective bargaining process is rolling out fairly. It's not even close to being fair. The truth is that there's initiatives being put on the table, taken off the table. There's issues that are being taken off the table when you're out of a collective bargaining process. It's happening unknown to the membership, and that's not fair. So with that being said, what is fair is that we as a council represent, obviously, you as members in terms of that collective bargaining processes and how they roll out. And when you're bargaining away from the table, that's not fair. So the reality is that my opinion, representing myself as a councillor, is I have a diligence to my taxpayers and my constituents to have them have the opportunity to exercise their rights to use the libraries. And as a result of the negotiations as they're taking place today, that's not going to happen. And the reason that's not going to happen is because the board's not going to the table. And if you're not at the table, you can't fix the problem. And I would strongly suggest, strongly encourage, as a councillor representing constituents in the town of Essex, that at their first opportunity, remotely, as early as tomorrow, and I appreciate what Councillor Snively's saying about this week. My initiative would be tomorrow. There's nothing stopping them from going back, making the call tonight, first thing in the morning, and get back to the table tomorrow, because the issues will never come to a resolution when you're separate ends of the spectrum. You have to get to the table. And I'm encouraging this council, as of tonight, to send that message, whether it be through the media or however we do it, that the board returns to the table tomorrow morning in order to put a agreement back into place that satisfies that, but mostly satisfies the constituents of the area that I represent, our taxpayers, and paying for that. So I'm going to put a motion forward, actually, that says very clearly, and I'm hoping I get a seconder, that this council is going to ask the board to go back tomorrow morning to the table and negotiate and get everybody back to work and get our taxpayers the services back in place that they so are deserving of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vokes.
Councillor Berkman?
Thank you, Worship, through you. As a councillor for this town and a representative of our people, also personally as a member of Local 200, I believe in the bargaining process. And as Councillor Vokes has said, the bargaining process only works when there are two sides at the table bargaining. Being outside of the table helps no one. And I've made my call and made my views known that I believe we need to have the board at the table and CUPE at the table. It takes two to get this job done, and you need to stay there. I mean, we've seen it through our industry many times where it's get in there, lock the door, and don't come out until there's something to bring to your people. And if that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do. But I agree with what Councillor Vokes is saying, but I would add to that, and I will agree with you, but I would send that to both parties. I'm not going to tell one party to do something and not another. We both need to get together, get in the room, stay there, and work out a deal. We're 100% in favor of that, and I believe we're in agreement to that. So that's what we need to do, and that message will come from us, that we need both parties together, get in that room, get to work, get our libraries back open, get our residents the things they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bjorkman.
Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, I agree absolutely. The fact that this is an issue that's affecting not only our residents but the whole county. I agree and will support a motion to bring both teams back to the table, and I don't even think we have to wait till tomorrow. There's still hours left today. I believe that it has to be two equally eager parties getting together and getting a deal done for the better of the residents and the librarians that are currently on a lockout, I guess. So I will support a motion to encourage the two parties to get together as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councillor.
Anything further? I have a couple comments myself. I'm quite elderly. Most of my life was as a member of different unions. I've been on both sides. I've negotiated many contracts in the past on behalf of our union members where I resided, worked. Now I'm on the other side. Now, I haven't spoken to anyone that sent me emails or phone call to my house because that's not my job. I'm not on the committee to get a contract, on behalf of the board. Other people are there. I'm not to discuss it. I will find out more about what's going on that I read in the paper. I hear things from the union side. I hear things from the county side. They don't always jive. Who do I believe? Just like you people are saying to me, who do I believe? Who can you believe? Wednesday night will be brought up here at the county, closed sessions, and I probably haven't spoken yet, but I will ask a lot of questions this Wednesday with regards to things that are going on. one of the things that I will say that I was upset with last week is there's a lady, and I don't remember her name, but she's mostly the spokesperson. I don't know who she is, but I heard her say on the radio, and I don't care what side of the fence you're on, there or here. The lady said, oh, yep, we're going back to negotiate. But guess what? We're not going to make any concessions. You might think that, but why would you say that on the radio to somebody like me who's impartial? It didn't make sense to me. No wonder they broke off this fast Friday, when they negotiate. We're to negotiate. But Wednesday, I promised all of you people that have sent me emails and or texts that I'm going to ask some questions as to why we aren't at the negotiation table. Believe me, I can remember in the past, you people were out on strike maybe 3 years. 3 years, and you kept working. But we were always at the table. We were always at the table. You never had a contract. I shouldn't say you were on strike. You never had a contract, but you still worked, and we allowed you to work. Well, I guess we're not allowing you to work now. So I don't know. I have a lot of questions, a few questions that I will ask Wednesday night, believe me. And when I find them out, I'm not going to tell you right away. Maybe down the road when this gets settled, call me, and I'll let you know what happened. But that's my 2 cents from what's been going on for the past month or close to it. Okay, Councillor Vokes, I think, was going to make a motion. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to put a motion forward that the Council of the Town of Essex send a letter to the President of CUPE and the Chair of the Library Board that in the interest of the services provided to the taxpayers of the Town of Essex, that immediately they return to the table to put a collective agreement in place, therefore restoring these services that are paid for by the taxpayers of the Town of Essex.
The County of Essex?
I only represent the constituents of the Town of Essex.
And that's supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions to the motion? Deputy Mayor Malash.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say I'm going to step aside from voting on it, just because my name has been attached to the motion.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anything further to the motion, Council? Councillor Vokes?
One request I do have, and I should have said it in my motion, is that as of the first thing, as of the business day tomorrow, that this request should end up on the desk of the chair of the president of CUPE along with the chair of the library board no later than 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, with hopes that they can be at the table by 10.
As amended? That's okay, Mr. Bjorkman, okay. Councillor Caxero to the motion?
Through you, is the president of CUPE here tonight? Well, and I believe the chair of the board is here also, so I think they've got their walking orders.
You're right. We could meet tonight. But anyways, to the motion, all in favor? Motion carries 100%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, councillors, members of council.
Thank you.
Your Worship, our next presentation this evening is Fire Chief Rick Arnell speaking to Ontario's new disaster recovery programs by way of PowerPoint presentation, advising of changes to the program for receipt.
Welcome, Chief Arnell. Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Worship. I don't know if CUPE is going to stay for this, but I'm afraid they're going to slowly get up and start walking out. So you people are free to go now. Oh, they want to stay? Okay.
Yeah, it's cool in here.
No problem.
Chief Arnell.
Through you, Your Worship. I'm here tonight, this was presented to County Council a few weeks ago, and a request was sent out via the fire chiefs that maybe we should bring the presentation to each council so we understand some of the changes to the Ontario new disaster recovery programs. So as we know, the disaster recovery program in Ontario, like every other province in Canada, the Ontario government offers financial assistance to help support recovery after natural disasters. So the Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program, which we know as ODRAFT, was established back in 1965. It had two components, public component for the municipalities and a private component for the people. So the government of Ontario back last August announced that they were going to retire the Ontario Disaster Relief Assistance Program, ODRAFT, and replace it with two new programs. First one, Disaster Recovery Assistance for Ontarians. This is to help people repair or replace essential property and cover other emergency costs. And the second one, Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance, to reimburse municipalities for extraordinary emergency response and repair costs. So as they did this, they went to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and they trying to rethink what they were going to do with the ODRAFT program. So they took from the years 2013 to 2015 and addressed some of the issues that happened throughout the province. And the Premier's mandate was to ensure that the program's design and criteria reflect the current needs in addressing extreme weather conditions and build upon lessons learned from recent experiences such as the 2013 ice storm. And in 2013 alone, $3.2 billion were paid out by insurance companies across Canada for extraordinary emergencies. So program key features. Both programs apply to sudden, unexpected natural disasters with impacts that are costly and widespread. The Disaster Recovery Assistance for Ontarians is for homeowners, tenants, small owner-operated businesses, nonprofit, farmers. So it's all claim-based. It's focused on essentials. And again, as the old program was, it's not intended to replace insurance. It's to supplement whatever wasn't insured. The Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance is for municipalities, and again, it's claims-based for extraordinary costs not covered by insurance that are necessary and incremental to normal municipal budgets. So the assistance for Ontarians, what does it mean, this new system for the people? The province makes the decision to activate the program now. There's no requirement for the municipality to do that. Should and soon be a faster activation if that happens. The province delivery model, no municipal appointed volunteer committees. So it should, in essence, mean faster payments for the, because there's a professional claims administration that's going through it. It's a full provincial funding, no local fundraising required. As in the old program, there was fundraising that had to be done in the communities, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. So it should be fair to all the people out there in the province because it doesn't matter where you live, you don't have to raise so much money to be able to get the percentage of money needed. And then there's clear program criteria, guidelines with published caps, and there is deductibles to get it. So it's more transparent. It's on the website, the Ministry of Housing website. All the information's there. So the Disaster Recovery Assistance for Ontarians will help disaster victims repair and replace essential property and cover other eligible emergency costs. So as I said earlier, the program's not a substitute for insurance, and some of the key features are the program now is activated by a provincial decision, so municipalities no longer have to submit a request to the province. The province will work with a private adjustment firm to process claims, eliminating the need for a disaster relief committee. And the new program will do away with current requirement for volunteers to fundraise in order to receive matching provincial assistance. So in the old system, what would happen is you would have to set up a disaster relief committee. That committee would have to raise money. Whatever monies they raised, the province could give a $2 to $1 amount up to 90% of the money needed for the relief. So you had to raise money to get money, and now you don't have to do that. One thing about this, when you put in an application, the deadline is 120 days after the Ministry of Municipal Affairs announces the program's been activated. So if there is a disaster, they'll announce that the program's activated, and the ratepayers in the area or the people in the area have 120 days to apply. So this is the municipal side, the municipal disaster recovery assistance. What does it mean to our municipality? Well, they've extended the 4-month time frame, and if anybody remembers back, we had 12 days, or 14 days, 14 calendar days to apply prior to. Now we have 4 months. So what that means to us is it gives us the ability to take care of the disaster and get all the cost, we ensure that we have the cost correct. There's a lower eligibility threshold, 3% of the municipality's annual tax levy. So it's more accessible. Larger number of municipalities will be eligible for the funding. There's a new cost-sharing formula based on the annual tax levy. The first 3%, you get a 75% reimbursement, and greater than 3%, you would get 95%. The old system was, it was either all or nothing. Either you got some money or you didn't get it. So this is a little fair system, and it should be hopefully better in the long. I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm just reporting. Okay. Clear published program guidelines with detailed eligibility. Again, it's more transparent. It's all online, and it actually online it tells you what you're covered, what's covered, and what isn't covered. So for the municipal disaster recovery assistance, we'll reimburse municipalities for eligible extraordinary emergency response and repair costs. So municipalities now have 4 months rather than the current 14 days. Well, it's not current. This program went into effect March 1st. And so it gives us the chance to assess our costs and request provincial assistance. The threshold has been lowered to 3% of the municipality's own purpose taxation in disaster-related costs from 4% to 3%. And own purpose taxation, I read up on, Jeff might be able to help me with this too, but it's the amount of tax a municipality is eligible to collect to fund its own budget minus certain adjustments, and is intended as an indicator for financial capacity. So it kind of tells the capacity of what the municipality can afford. And then the new cost-sharing formula, if a municipality qualifies for assistance, the province will reimburse 75% of the eligible costs, up to 3% of our own purpose taxation, and anything greater than 3% for 95%. So what can we do as a municipality? So every municipality must have an emergency plan, and we do, and we're currently reviewing the plan as we do annually. We're going through the plan and making some adjustments, and that's in response to the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act that we got to have that. So we're ensuring that that's there. Also, we're currently working on a continuity plan, which will help us come up with a plan that long-term in an emergency, what we need to do to ensure the town's existence as the emergency goes on. So we're working on that as well. Consider how our municipality will address unexpected costs, so we need to understand that. And then we need to plan in advance, and we have our annual training exercise, emergency management every year, and some of the next points relate to that. You know, we immediately begin to track disaster related. We talked about in our training that note taking and the value of note taking. So we must track any disaster related costs separately by establishing a segregated general ledger, retain documentation to tie direct costs from the disaster back, and as well retain documentation to prove costs are incremental to normal operating budget. So we got to prove that it's outside of our normal operating budget. So program materials, as I said, this program is now in effect. It started March 1st. Materials for this program are on the website, and it gives you all the rules, and your application to apply and everything is on the website. And it says here that the ministry staff are available to make presentations. If we would need them, we can give them a call to come down and make a presentation. And that's my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Chief Arnell? Nope. Motion to receive, Councillor Caxero and Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Motion carried. Thanks, Chief. I know you're right on top of things.
Item 7 on the agenda this evening, Your Worship, is reports from administration. 7A, Building Department Report Number 2016-06, containing the June 2016 Building Report for receipt.
Councillor Caxero, Councillor Vokes, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Report 7B, Corporate Services Department, Report Number Clerk 2016-004, Recorder Revision for the Batten Drain, for receipt and for recommending to Council that 3 council members be appointed to sit as members of the Recorder Revision for the Batten Drain, to be scheduled for Monday, August 22nd at 5:30 p.m.
First of all, can we get 3 volunteers? Councillor Bjorkman, Deputy Mayor Malash, and this was next Monday? 22nd. Oh, that's only a couple days away. Thursday.
August 22nd, so 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
I'll be the 3rd. Okay?
Yep.
Now, motion to receive. Councillor Vokes, Councillor Bundy. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Report 7C, Community Services, Report Number 2016-025, Re-Office Accommodation and Life Cycle Report, for receipt, and further that Council award the project to Stevenson Engineering in the amount of $28,250, inclusive of HST, based on the allocation of $15,000 to the approved 2016 Community Services capital budget, and that Council approve the remaining balance of $13,250 to be allocated to the 2017 Community Services capital budget.
Moved by Councillor Snively, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Oh, Deputy Mayor Malash, question, sir.
General comment. I absolutely hate allocating to next year's budget, but I understand why you're doing it, and I'm for it.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? Motion carries.
Report 7D, Community Services, Report Number 2016-026, Re-Bellbox Mural Project in Harrell Center, for receipt for Council information.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, supported by Councillor Bundy. With a comment, Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, through your worship. Yeah, it's a great initiative. We had that done in Essex Center. I believe it was about 3 years ago that they did all the bell boxes, and it's amazing. These things are just this ugly box sitting in the side, and once they're done, it really does add to the community. So I think it's a great initiative. Good job there.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Report 7E, Community Services, Report Number 2016-024, re the Herald Daycare lease renewal. That said report be received, and that Council approve first and second reading of bylaw number 1540 to renew the Herald Daycare lease to operate at the Herald Arena under the same terms and conditions for an additional 5 years commencing August 1st, 2016.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Councillor Snively. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Your worship, item 10 is correspondence. 10A, correspondence for receipt by council, is correspondence from the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. Call for nominations for an outstanding Ontario physician in our community for receipt, and that this information be shared with the community.
Moved by Councillor Snively, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
10B, item 1 under correspondence is correspondence from Ken Broadbent and Christy Webb, looking for a request from relief from the town's noise bylaw for receipt, and that council supports the request for the exemption from the town's noise bylaw on July 30th, and that the requesters be reminded that all vehicles need to be legally parked in respect of public safety.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, supported by Councillor Vokes. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 10B, item 2 under correspondence is correspondence from City of Windsor with respect to excessive idling of vehicles bylaw, containing a copy of the City of Windsor recent amendments to their bylaw that prohibits excessive idling of vehicles, and requesting that council consider supporting a possible regional standard to reduce emissions for receipt or receipt in support.
Moved by Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions, Councillor Bondi?
Thank you. I'd like to make sure that this is supported, and I think it's important that Essex Council start to talk about idling, and it's been on my radar for a while, and I hope that we can get there. For example, recently there's been idling around our Civic Center by security vehicles that are from out of town, and idling around our Essex Library. So in this instance, if we had idling police, or even, how it's self-enforcing, I think we could reduce the idling. There was another article not that long ago in the Windsor Star about the City of Windsor idling bylaw. So perhaps now that we were kind of in limbo without a CAO, and now that we have a CAO in place, maybe she can take her team and delegate this bylaw to somebody, or delegate this file. We hadn't decided whether we needed a bylaw or not, but I really think council should have some type of bylaw in place, and I would love to see the bylaw go throughout all of Essex County, so all of those little security vehicles that are idling, not being good role models outside of our libraries, could reduce the pollutants into the air. So I'm hoping that Miss Pelon Abs, you can take this file and run with it, because I really think that Essex, we've led the way in so many initiatives. I really would like the town of Essex to lead the way in environmental progression now.
Thank you, Sherry. Councillor Bjorkman?
Thank you, through your worship. It was a good discussion we had a couple of meetings ago with regard to it. There was something else in the City of Windsor file where the council had asked to receive a chart. We're going to have an easy-to-read chart kind of explaining all the different things that idling falls into, because when you get between service vehicles, right to the point where they're talking about people in drive-thrus and waiting at the McDonald's and that sort of thing. That's all of that idling needs to be identified. So it's a pretty big file, and they have put that together already, and they were prepared to share that. So I just think it would be a good idea to make contact with them and ask if we could share that. If they've got best practices already out there, then we don't have to spend all that time reinventing the wheel.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Worship. I want to go to Councillor Bondi. Are you telling me that security had vehicles idling? In terms of idling?
Councillor Bondi, will you have an answer?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, there are security vehicles that are idling at the Civic Center presently and around the Essex Library branch for sure.
Okay, the reason I say that, because as a taxpayer, I'm a little bit concerned about that. The reason I'm concerned about it, they're librarians.
Deputy Mayor Malash, your point of order is, sir.
Well, I don't think we are. If we're talking about idling.
Hey,
Okay.
okay, hey,
All
okay,
right, then. I just want to make that point, that's all.
okay. Thank you very much. And anything further to the motion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 10B, item 3 on correspondence is email correspondence received from Dave and Jen Cassidy, owners of Fitness Fury, dated July 13th, asking council to consider leasing space in the basement at the Essex Recreation Center for receipt or receipt in support.
Councillor Vokes,
Receive and report with discussion.
supported by Deputy Mayor Melange. Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Worship. I really want council to take a look at this and consider this, because I think in terms of our recreational qualities in the town of Essex, what it would really afford to do for us is put everything under one roof line. And I think it would create an asset for us in terms of people visiting the aquatic center and the school in general, because it would give them the opportunity to have fitness at their disposal, swimming at their disposal, and several recreational activities right at their disposal. The hiccup in the process, and being a member of the youth center myself, is that the youth center, and I maybe have let Doug speak a little bit further in detail on it, but the youth center has an agreement with that particular facility with the board for 28 years. And therefore, that's one of the reasons why they have been there. But as I speak to date, the board has deteriorated. As a matter of fact, it was announced very clearly that the youth center is no longer a functional board, and it's in a latency period. So even though the board may have some future aspirations of getting up and running and providing, or I'm sorry, not the board, the youth center may have some future aspirations about getting up and running, what their aspirations are for us as a town can be fully committed to by really just a change of real estate. And the point would be is that the youth center could go to the Fitness Fury facility, which is at the Ball Diamond, which, by the way, would help arrest some of our concerns in terms of the skate park, because the youth center would be there for them to participate in that, and then enhance our recreational opportunity at the aquatic center. It really is a win-win for everybody. But there's a little concerns there in terms of the agreement, what the youth center has with that piece of real estate. But I think if the proper minds go to the table, it can be easily worked out in terms of making that transitional change, and hence have a better recreational environment to offer the taxpayers of the town of Essex. We could easily afford the real estate for the youth center to continue to run. They're kind of like, I say it respectfully, they're a little bit of a lame duck right now. You know what I mean? They're kind of hopping along. They're doing little things, and then they're doing nothing. They get a little influx of money coming in, then they do a little something. It's not something that would, actually the truth is, if they went to the Fitness Fury, we would probably have to waive the lease agreement for them because money's so tight for them to run, right? But because they have that agreement right now, they can go. So I would strongly encourage council to consider doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone? Councillor Bjorkman?
Thank you, through your worship. I agree with Councillor Vokes. We have two viable businesses that want to use the space that we have in the basement of the school. They're both working businesses that are paying taxes, that we want to keep in this town. They've got to expand what they want to put in. The CrossFit equipment just will not fit where they are today, and would actually have to build onto that building in order to make that fit. And it does fit in the old weight room there at the school. So I believe it's something we need to pursue. Again, as Councillor Vokes was saying with regard to the Essex Youth Center, they are in a limbo phase, actually declared themselves not an entity a few months back. So we need to make a concerted effort, and maybe we could start with Rob Auger making contact just to see where are they. Do they have a budget? Do they have a program? Do they have some sort of a set agenda? And can we make that work somewhere else for them? And work with them. We want to take care of our youth here as well, but we don't want to lose a business here. So I'm 100% in favor.
Anyone else? Councillor Vokes?
Thank you for the second opportunity to speak to this. I think the best thing to do is if we could, instead of just putting on Rob's lap to do, if we could maybe set a meeting up with the youth center and administration, obviously including Doug in on that first and foremost, and then we'll go and have some discussions with them on what would be the best interests of everybody involved at the wishes of council to do this.
Mr. Sweet, Director of Community Services, has a comment.
Your Worship, I just want to add, and Councillor Vokes did mention it, but this isn't Dave and Jen just bring this forward. Back in May, we had an agreement with all three parties to make that switch I was spoken to earlier. But the board with the Essex Youth Center, chairman resigned and everything, which then put it in flux. So this was in motion, so I think the recommendation just made by Councillor Vokes is a good one, that we meet with the Essex Youth Center.
Question to you, Mr. Sweet, with regards, like, I'm all for this. Is there a problem with the school board, like us sharing facilities down there? Is that part of this room that Mr. Cassidy's looking after? Will we have any problem with that?
Through Your Worship, that portion is what we have an agreement with the school board that the town operates. And they're in a agreement to lease that out to be extra revenue for both parties and good synergies with the fitness in that facility.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone further? Motion receive and support was made. Councillor Bundy, I think, was made already, wasn't it? Councillor Vokes and seconder was? You had one? Deputy Mayor Malash. Okay. Anything further to the motion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Item 11 off the agenda this evening, Your Worship, is committee meeting minutes. That the committee meeting minutes in items 11A through C be received, adopted, and the recommendations contained therein approved as recommended.
Deputy Mayor Malash, Councillor Caxero, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 13, new business. Item 13A, Councillor Vokes speaking to no parking signs on Queensway.
Councillor Vokes, sorry.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to have some discussions with, and I want, Chris afforded me an opportunity to speak to this, and I do appreciate that, but I want to make sure that, council is part of the decision process, and there was some concerns with some issuing of tickets that had taken place on Queensway with the police showing up. But you got to remember, and keeping in mind, Council, if you could, in terms of the portion of Queensway I'm talking about is a cul-de-sac. It's not a through street. It's just a cul-de-sac. So the people that are in that environment, because it's not a through street, are the same people day in, day out, right? It's not like people are going through there. So after the tickets were issued and after the discussions were had and after everything had taken place, the thought that would be a process to resolve the issue on no parking and tickets, and it actually got a little bit complicated, was to add more no parking signs. So ultimately what had happened, because it's a cul-de-sac, and I'm open for correction if I'm wrong, because I want to make sure that the discussions are fair and everybody understands what's going on in order to come up with a resolution to what is a problem. And what happens if I own a property there and I'm in the cul-de-sac and I put my two cars in my driveway and somebody comes over to visit me and there's no place to park, where they have to park each and every time they'll get a parking spot or they'll get a parking ticket. because you can't park on the street there because it's so inundated with parking, no parking now. So that's one of the main concerns, is when you have somebody come over, the way we laid the parking signs out is if I had company come to my house tonight and my wife's car was in the driveway and my car was in the driveway and somebody come over to visit and they park on the street, while they're in visiting me remotely, they'd get a parking ticket. And then if they knocked on my door and said, hey, Randy, yeah, what's up? We're just here to visit, but there's no place for us to park. Your driveway's full, but it says I can't park on the street. So where am I going to park? And I go, we'll see you later. I got no beer in my fridge anyway, right? But you see what I'm saying? So I just want to come up with a fix to that problem. I see Ted Canoy up here, and with council's permission, I'd really like him to share with us for a couple minutes, because he's one of the ones that are troubled by it. I did, and the reason I brought it to council is certainly not driven by Mr. Canoy. I had like 7 emails from residents, and what they did internally there, I don't know, but I got 7 emails from residents saying, what are you going to do about this? And so the only answer I have for them is to come to council and say, let's look at the way we have those signs laid out, and how are we going to fix it? So I don't know. Yes.
Just before you ask if Mr. Canoy can come down, can we hear from administration?
Absolutely.
Sir, because I did hear you say you would like to know.
No, I'm fine with that, thank you.
And I think even before Chris gets involved with this, Mr. Canoy called me before he called you, and Jeff and I went down, looked, talked to Ted, and yeah, we can get this resolved. So we did, by putting up signs where you can park or where you can't park at different times of the month, or whichever month it is. So, and then now it's gone from having the signs up there to too many signs or something. But anyways, I think we should need to listen to Mr. Nepsey, the Director of Infrastructure and Development, and maybe we can prevent a lot of discussion.
I'm perfectly fine with
Yep.
that, as long as we can leave here tonight
Yep.
with a
Okay.
resolution that satisfies everybody.
Well, it might not either, but anyways, Mr. Nepsey.
Through your worship. Yeah, I just sent a picture to our clerk to see if he could pull it up on the screen to help with a little bit of a visual here, because although I guess a cul-de-sac, it's really not a cul-de-sac in terms of one circle. It's more of a flattened T that has a stretch of straightaway with kind of 2 adjoining cul-de-sacs. So it's kind of a unique cul-de-sac. The situation was brought forward to my department upon a resident in the area receiving, and there you have it, right? A resident receiving a ticket for parking on the wrong side of the street. Like many of our urban streets, we have alternate side parking where there's no parking available on the street, a dedicated parking lane, we put in alternate parking. The reason we put in alternate parking is for operational purposes, both in the winter and in the summer and spring months. In the winter, it allows us to properly clean right to the curbed area, both sides of the street at any given month. So it gives us that opportunity if cars are parked for a long period of time. On one side, we know at least in the next month they're going to move, and we can be assured that one side of the street is entirely clear for traffic. In summer months, similarly with street sweeping, it allows us to ensure that we're providing that best service to sweep at least one full side of that street. So what's happened in this case, you can see it's not really a cul-de-sac in terms of what most people would think of a cul-de-sac. The issue we had was the gentleman came in with 2 parking tickets there that he received, and the police were just enforcing our bylaw. Queensway is noted in our bylaw as a street that has alternate side parking. The operations department went out. We did agree that the signage of the street was unclear. It was unclear. It was unclear as to what side of the street you should be parking on, which month. In order to clarify that, it required additional signs. And it was noted at the time, if we were going to proceed clarifying that, I knew that the next meeting we would have people in here with concerns that there were too many signs up. It's just, it's one or the other. So What we've done, we haven't changed the intent of the parking on that street. The intent has always been to have alternate side parking, whether it be on this side, one side of the month, and this side, the other side of the month, and then flip. You've all seen the signs, right? January, March, et cetera, every other month to park on either side of the road. So what we did to clarify that, we proceeded to put signs that basically split this cul-de-sac or flattened T this way. So it allowed for parking on this side of the month, or on this side of the street for 6 months of the year, and on this side of the street for the other 6 months of the year. It's made us put signs here, 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 and here, as opposed to signs here and here, but it's definitely clarified the problem. So, you know, I'm not sure how to proceed. I know right now the intent of the alternate side parking, which is something we require operationally, is clear. It's clear to the officers that are enforcing our bylaw. To me, it's clear to the residents that live there. Unfortunately, for the 7 or so that's emailed Randy, it does mean a few additional signs in that area.
Okay, Councillor Vokes?
Request that Mr. Canoy had the chance to speak, and I'm looking for a seconder to support that, please.
Councillor Caxero? Mr. Canoy? All in favor? Motion carries. Go up to the seat there, Ted, and purple button, and we'll turn the mic on.
Thank you. Appreciate this. This took place approximately 2 months ago when, after discussion with Chris, as mayor, and Donna Hunter about police coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning and ticketing everybody in Queensway and Kingsway and on Victoria Park. I called the mayor and said, look, I've lived in this street since 1990. Never had a ticket. Don't understand why they would be coming in 2 o'clock in the morning doing it, but I'm willing to pay it. Mayor was nice enough, said, listen, why don't you come down, we'll have a meeting. We did. It was supposed to be between the mayor and myself and Donna. Chris Nepsey joined it. Brought in a couple pictures similar to this. I said, listen, I'm willing to pay it. It's only $25 for each ticket. It's no big deal. Chris said, well, we can take care of this, but he said, I'll solve your signage problem. 2 weeks later, 6 or 7 town employees, 4 vehicles, a supervisor, and a stone crusher, whatever it was that came in, installed 4 posts with 2 signs on each post, one in front of my home, one in front of Rick O'Connor's home, 2 on the sides. There are 2 light posts in the cul-de-sac. They both have signs. We now have 8 signs for 7 parking spots. Overkill? Maybe. Oversight? Probably. So I took the liberty of driving around Essex. I found 7 other cul-de-sacs just to see if it was me, if it was our cul-de-sac. By the way, the 10 homes in our cul-de-sac, that's all there is, have all the people of those homes have asked me to speak on their behalf, and that's why I'm here. In 3 of the 7 I visited, there are no signs, not one. In one of the cul-de-sacs, there's 1 sign. In the other 2 cul-de-sacs, there's 2 signs. Why are we so lucky to have 8? Don't understand it, but I have a very simple solution. Remove the 4 posts. The 2 signs that are in front of on the post in front of Rick Bryant's house, or Rick O'Connor's house, the 2 signs that are in front of my house, take those 2 signs, put them on the light post. Remove the 4 posts, all your problems are solved. You're removing an unsightly view, and actually, you know, really it's eye pollution. As one of my neighbors said, like, how do you look at all these signs and have somebody come in who wants to sell a house and say, what's with all the signs? You can't park anywhere. I believe it's just an oversight. I'd like to get it corrected. Like I say, if there's cul-de-sacs with no signs, how does one end up with 8? Anybody explain that to me?
I don't know if, I'll try, Ted, but I don't know how right I'll be. When I went out there, I can see your car sitting right where it is.
Yep.
There was a sign right there. Says, no parking this month, but you parked there. No parking the other month, or there is parking the other month. You're parked right beside that sign. Now, let me finish. Confusing. It's confusing where the signs were, and you admitted it, we admitted it. That's why we scratched those tickets off and took care of them, because it was confusing. You were confused, and you parked right under the sign. There's no parking. Now, we don't tell the police where to go, what to do, who to ticket, who not to ticket. That's not our bag, you know. But I could see, well, you got a ticket, because you're parked right under that sign. But now, you cannot, like Mr. Nepsey said, you can't park where you shouldn't park. You can't park illegally now, or you can't read, whatever. That's the only answer I can give you.
Well, the
So, I
unfortunate,
don't know.
Mr. Mayor, the unfortunate part of Chris's thought process is, when he cut the cul-de-sac in half, there are 6 parking spots on one side, 2 on the other, because there's no parking in between some of these homes, because the leeway there is less than 3 feet. So you'd be parking in people's driveways. So how do you resolve that problem? On the other months, when people have to park there, you say, I don't know, you guys have to park around the block, or maybe go somewhere else and park, because according to this, you're not allowed to park here anymore. And yet you allow other cul-de-sacs to have no parking signs, or 1, and you throw 8 into ours. Now, something is amiss here. Somehow, somebody's overreacted to a situation, and it's like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. That's what we've done here. We used the sledgehammer to kill a fly to prove a point. How much money, how much taxpayers' money did it take to put all the signs up?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't
It'd be
tell
a
you.
nice thing for somebody to find out, to say, you know what? We spent how much money putting up 8 signs for 7 parking spots? Now we have 6 on one side, 2 on the other. And so for 6 months of the year, 2 people get to park and nobody else does. What do you tell those people? We're all taxpayers, by the way.
I don't know, all I know is you're not going to get a ticket now if you look at the signs. You can't get a ticket there.
Well, Mr.
You know.
Mayor, I hate to disagree with you here. The original 2 signs are still on the post. So you explain to me why the original signs are still there. All the new signs are there. Resolve the issue. It's very simple. Take the two signs off in front of the post in front of my home and Linda's home. 2 signs off in Rick's home. Put them on the post. Take the post away. All your parking spots are resolved. And it takes away an unsightly image. I mean, anybody here want 8 signs on their block in a cul-de-sac? Anybody? I don't think so. I'm not sure where Chris lives, but I'm sure there's not 8 signs in his cul-de-sac.
You know. Anyone else? Any comments? Councilor Vokes.
I don't know what Chris's schedule looks like, and I know one may suggest to me we've already done that, but being a representative in that ward and certainly representing the people in that cul-de-sac, I would really, my preference would be to have another site meeting with myself and Chris and the residents there, and have some mature conversation on how we can maybe come up with a resolution, because without doing that, we're just going to go around and around tonight with no end to it. And any counselor who wants to attend is obviously welcome to come. But if Mr. Canoy's idea may work and we agree with it as a town, then again, prevailing that way may be the answer. But I really would like to, I'm requesting as a counselor of that area, that I have the opportunity for a site meeting with the residents, with the administration, to have some conversation about how we can fix it. That's all I'm asking. I'm hoping council would support me on that.
Councilor Bjorkman?
Yes, and if you're making that not a move, but a recommendation, then I would back up that recommendation as well.
Yeah, even if we could do it as early as Wednesday. I could do that. And even if you, Steve, wanted to attend after work also, being we could do it later on in the afternoon, so it fits for you. So, but anyways, whatever works best for all those involved, if we could do it maybe Wednesday.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, supported. Anyone to the motion? All in favor of that motion? Motion carries. Okay, thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Your Honor.
Ted.
Thank you, council.
Councilor Caxero.
Through your worship, I was just going to suggest potentially if they might want to decide on a date before we leave, just so that it doesn't get brought up again in 2 weeks, so that they can meet. Just make sure, I guess, there's a date clear between everybody so that we for sure get it taken care of, as opposed to it coming back again.
If I could, I think we had talked about Wednesday, so Chris can look at his calendar and with his people, and that works for me. I don't know, so we'll go from there.
Through your worship, I'll have to look, check with my
Yeah.
operations
Okay.
managers, because I don't want them present.
Yeah,
And
thank
I
you.
know they're on vacation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Item 13B under new business, introduced tonight is Councillor Snively speaking to ATVs on public roads.
Councilor Snively.
Through your worship, this is an item that's an issue that come up previously, I think months ago. We brought this issue forward, March, to be exact, it was March, and we were waiting for a report to come back to council, which never did. My understanding, I'm getting a lot of calls from residents that I live on the 4th myself, and I know I have a quad, I use it. And a lot of residents are asking for quad use on our concession roads, which I agree 100%. If you have insurance, plate it, helmets, I don't see a reason why they're not allowed. Highways, that's a different ballgame, but I mean, you're out on concession roads, farms and that, I don't understand why we didn't approve that night when it come up, instead of waiting for a report. Now we have a neighboring municipality, what I understand, I don't know if it's correct or not, from a resident, that one of our neighboring municipalities just passed a bylaw allowing ATVs on the road, Lakeshore. So I'd like to resolve this problem tonight, okay? I don't want to keep it carrying on. We carried on since March with this issue. The report never come back. I would like to make a motion tonight, if it's possible, that we allow ATV use on our roads, if that's possible, Your Worship.
I would just, if we have a report coming, should we not be waiting for that report?
We've been waiting since March. So we got March, April, May, June, July. 5 months. We've been waiting for a report. The report's never come forward. And I don't see where the problem is for ATV use on concession roads. I really don't see where there's a problem there. I can see on major highways, but on concession roads, farmers are allowed to use them, but on concession roads, I don't see where there's a problem there. I can see on main highways, yes, but on concession roads, I think they should be used. Thank you. And I know we've been waiting for a report, but I'm not going to wait another 5 or 6 months for a report. So I would like to bring a motion forward that we allow the use. Thank you.
Okay,
If I
can
could
can I have you make that motion as soon as we have a few hands up? My question to administration, does anybody recall who is going to bring that report back to council? Or does any council member remember? Councilor Caxaro, maybe?
Through your worship, I believe I was the one that asked for the report. I'm not exactly sure who was tasked with it. I did attend an open house in Lakeshore with regards to ATVs. I would have to disagree, or I would not support a motion to do something tonight, only because in going to that open house, I think there's a little more to it than just allowing for use on given set roads. For one, as far as I know currently, the county is not willing to move on allowing use on county roads. So that really restricts the mobility of ATVs even within our municipality. So for example, somebody, say, that lived in Councillor Snively's area would be able to travel up and down, say, the 4th concession or down Ferris Side Road or McCormick Side Road, but as soon as they got to the Undertown line or Walker Road or County Road 20 or County Road 15, they would not be able to cross those roads. So I know certainly part of the process, I think, should be some public consultation, as Lakeshore did. They've done that already. And I agree that the report maybe should have came forward already. Maybe part of that problem is because we were in transition with CAO position. Again, I don't remember who was tasked with that. But I would like to see a report, and I think we should have some public consultation prior to moving in any given direction. I too am in favor of doing something as far as allowing for ATV use on the roads. I have been questioned by various constituents. So it's not that I don't support it, it's just that I don't want to kind of do something knee-jerk and then have to reconsider what we did and go back to the drawing board once we've already put something in place. So I guess maybe put a priority on that report coming back, and council can do as they wish. I would support a report coming back by the end of August. That gives administration a month, and maybe have some public consultation in the early fall.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councillor Vokes?
We go again. I don't want to prolong things, and we're talking about reports and reinventing the wheel, no pun intended, and respectfully, Councillor Caxero, if you heard Councillor Snively, he didn't make no concerns or issues in terms of county roads. That's a county road. That's not the county road belongs to the people who actually, the representatives who sit at this bar. That's their decision, not ours. The county roads have nothing to do with us. If I go up a rural road, I know I can't go. That county road doesn't apply to the rules of the municipality of Essex. So it has no bearing. But in terms of a report, what's a report going to say? A report can say no more other than this, that it needs proper headlights, turn signals, da-da-da-da-da. But what's really ironic about that is tomorrow, respectfully, any farmer can go out on any road tomorrow and drive right down the center of it if he wants. He doesn't need turn signals, he doesn't need brake lights. The thing at its best, I assume, runs 25 mile an hour, maybe 30 if it's got a high range gear in it, and he can drive all over wherever he wants. But we got people in our municipality who live in a rural environment, and they're in a rural environment, and today that's really become status quo as a means of migrating around when you live that environment. And now we want to have some form of even public consultation. Well, if we have public consultation, the only people who are going to show up are the people who live on those rural roads. And the majority of those people are going to support the fact that you can use an ATV on those roads. So I don't like dragging it through the mud. I agree with Councillor Snively. We should just responsibly, what we should be doing, people, really, is have our administration talk to their colleagues at other municipalities where they allow ATVs, and we just simply benchmark what they do. They've already done the work for us. They've laid the groundwork in the interest of the constituents. So all we do is we get their policy on ATV use in their municipality, and we use that as our benchmark. And we could have it in place within weeks with no concerns about insurance, about legals, about lawsuits, about nothing, because they've already done the work. And that's what I would suggest, is that we immediately communicate with another municipality, find out what their policy is, and I know they would share it with us, and benchmark what they do, and we pass it here.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Bondi and then Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to pursue this, but I think it needs to be done properly because I still think there's a lot of gray areas. I by no means right now am an expert on what ATV use looks like in the municipality of Essex. If we pass something tonight, the news header is going to say Essex passes ATV uses. Somebody's going to get on an ATV, get stuck on a county road, and get a ticket. So I think we have to communicate the message out there properly. And tonight, I'm not prepared to communicate a solid message out there because I just don't know. There's so many gray areas. I remember all the gray areas from the first term on council. We tried to allow ATV use on one of the beaches with a woman with a handicap issue. And our past CEO, Russ Phillips, brought back a whole bunch of information on that ATV use was not a preferred method of travel. So I think there's a lot of information out there. I think Lakeshore is doing it right. I do think it needs some amount of public consultation, public communication. We probably have to look at signage. We have to make sure that our bylaws are consistent. So I think there's a little more to it. The unfortunate part is that I have this book, and I bring this book to every council meeting, and I wrote back that in March 7th that we brought up the ATV topic. Actually, Councillor Caxero brought it up, and I too have heard from a couple of residents. So the unfortunate part is that we need a better tracking system with asking for reports. Councillor Caxero also tried to get a method of tracking, but we were kind of in limbo because we did not have a CAO in place. I'm sure Russ Phillips, had he stayed, we would have already discussed ATV use again. But as the municipality and the residents know, that we have kind of been in limbo and very, very busy. So I think this is a task that we can leave with our new CAO, and she's got it high on her radar, and hopefully by the end of summer, we have some solid direction. If right now a farmer can use an ATV on a concession road, then he shouldn't get in trouble. He shouldn't get a ticket, in theory. So I don't know enough about it. There's nothing here that, I don't know, I could piecemeal what I know about it with county laws and provincial laws and municipal, but I don't know enough about it to make a comfortable decision tonight. So I would like something to come back.
Thank you. Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, through your worship. I too am not comfortable moving something this evening. As Councillor Vokes has mentioned, we do have neighbors that have gone into this already, have spent some time. One of the big issues that they went ahead and did this in Lakeshore was because it's a big tourist draw as well. They've got areas out there and out towards Pilot's Cove and those areas that they've actually, people come in to ride their ATVs. And if we say, okay, you know, it's okay to ride ATVs on our roads, well, it's not just going to be our farmers and our residents that are driving those ATVs. People are going to be coming from around, and that's something we should actually look at as a potential draw for tourism. But be aware that people on those quiet roads that they've wanted to move to could suddenly have 10 ATVs out there on the weekend because guys just coming out and I can drive my ATV out here on these county roads. So there is more to it than just saying, okay, we're going to just have it for our people. If it's legal for everybody. And it would be a wonderful way to get some people out here, new people, tourism, build up that venue as well. But we need to look at it some more. We need to look at what our neighbors have already done. And we've got to decide how high of a priority is it. We've talked about how busy our staff is and the things that are going on already. Is this something that what do we want to knock off the table so that they get right to work on this now? I think there's a little more work to prioritizing it and then to make sure we do it right. Thank you.
Sir, Councillor Vokes and Councillor Snively.
When the time's right, I'll put a motion for it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, I think we're getting off the basis here. You know, now we're talking county roads, like Councillor Bondi brought up. We're not talking county roads here. We're talking about our municipality, our roads. We have a lot of people that hunt in our area, deer hunt. Every single one of them has got an ATV. Almost every single one of them use that ATV to get out to the woods where they're deer hunt. I don't really see where the problem is here. And as far as tourism, I don't know where we're getting way off the topic here with tourism, because I strongly believe you won't see 10 quads going down the 4th concession all in a row or out the lake or whatever. You're not going to see that. what we're seeing here, I'm having people ask me for permission to ride an ATV from their house out to the woods where they're hunting, and basically that's what it is. That's how I use mine. That's how my neighbor, he hunts, that's how he uses his. We're not talking about racing around county roads. This is a very simple thing. We're asking for ATV use for recreational hunting. Basically, that's what it's for. That's what I'm asking here tonight. And I'm still going to make that motion tonight because we asked for a report in March, and the report hasn't come back yet. I think we had plenty of time to have that report. And I'm going to stick with that motion if I can get the support. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Snively has made a motion. We have a seconder. He just made a motion.
Allow ATV use on our municipality roads, our roads.
Seconded by Councillor Vokes. Any questions to the motion? Okay, Councillor Bjorkman and Councillor Bundy.
Through your worship, if we pass that motion to allow ATVs on our municipal roads, that's right now saying any municipal road, somebody has an ATV, a licensed ATV with their helmet on, can drive that road.
License, insurance. They have to have a license, they have to have insurance.
And so, again, I'll just state that my belief is we are going to see people come out just to ride our roads on their ATVs. And until we really look at that, I can't support it.
Councillor Bundy and then Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you. I cannot support the motion just because I think people don't know what a county road is versus a town of Essex. I think they'll think the whole town of Essex they can ride in, whether it's County Road 15, County Road 50, or County Road 20. I think we need a communications plan first.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, through your worship. So does that mean Eiler Street in Essex and Stanton Court? And does that mean, we said all municipal roads? I heard municipal roads. So does that include Center Street and Harrow?
No.
I think there has to be some rules set out, and I think we need a report, in my opinion, before I can support it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, if
Deputy... Councillor Snively, this is your last shot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Like we've already had, 3 or 4 of you speak. So.
I would change that motion. I would change that motion if we're just going to use our rural roads and keep them out of town. So.
The seconder was Councillor Vokes. Are you okay with that, Councillor?
Yeah, I'm okay with it because the reason I'm okay with it, because Larry in his conversation, even though he said municipal roads, he focused on rural, he said specifically rural roads. That's why I'm okay with it. He did mention municipal roads, but he said rural roads, and that's why I supported it.
Now everyone in the room knows what a rural road is, I guess. I hope they do. Okay, ready for the vote? Well, no, we've all spoke to the motion. No, but you had spoken to the motion already, previous. Okay, go ahead, I'll allow it.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Council, I want to remind people that these people who drive the ATVs, they're fully knowledgeable on how they work, they're insured, they're licensed, and they're only for rural road use. We're not really jeopardizing ourselves, and it's no different than what any other municipality is doing right now. So nobody needs to leave here all panicked, wonder whether we did the right things. And again, I want to reassure people, as you know, I could jump on a tractor tomorrow and drive wherever. So, anyways, thanks for allowing me to speak. One more.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Do we know what the motion reads now? Just, oh, yeah, yes, you can, sure. Everyone's aware of what the motion reads now. Rural roads.
On the motion to allow license insurance ATV use on our rural roads, Councillor Vokes? Councillor Bjorkman? Councillor Caxero? Councillor Snively? Deputy Mayor Milosh? Mayor McDermott?
Opposed?
Councillor Bondi? So on the motion to allow license insurance ATV use on rural roads, Councillor Vokes support, Councillor Borkman oppose, Councillor Caxero oppose, Councillor Snively support, Deputy Mayor Milosh oppose, Mayor McDermott oppose, and Councillor Bondi oppose. With a recorded vote of 2 in favor and 5 opposed, the motion is defeated.
Further, Councillor Caxero.
Through you, Your Worship, I'd ask that administration come back with that report, our second meeting in August.
I think everyone would support you with their, Councillor Vokes says yes, and, okay, Councillor Bondi?
Thank you. Just ask that administration also liaison with the OPP while creating the report. Thank you.
Okay, to the motion, or anything, any more questions about, all in favor? Motion carries.
Item 15 on the agenda tonight, announcements. Any announcements this evening?
Councillor Bjorkman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you and to everybody out there, Explore the Shore is happening this coming weekend out on County Road 50. All of our wineries, stores, services, everybody will be having specials. They've got a church fish fry. You can collect a passport at one of the stops. You go through 4 or 5 of them, get them all stamped. They have draws. There's a lot of great things happening out on County Road 50 in the community this weekend.
Anyone else? Just before we get into the bylaws, I'd just like to say thanks to anyone that had anything to do with the Fun Fest last weekend. It was a great weekend for sure. Great crowds, probably another month and a half away from hearing what the final results were and everything, but we had Doug Sweet, Joe Guerin, trying to think of John, Pam, looked after different sections. They were down there probably 20 hours all weekend, Thursday to Sunday. You know, it was unbelievable. We had a lot of help. I see Phil over there, Pocock, you know, and we can, next year, it's the second week in July, I think, second weekend. Put it down your calendars. We still need a lot more volunteers, believe me, because Doug will be able to go home and have a shower once or twice during the day instead of staying there, you know, and sweating his fanny off all day long. Like they never left, those people, I'm telling you. But it was a great weekend, and thanks to everyone for coming out and, you know, being a part of it. Okay, thanks.
Next on the agenda is item 16, bylaws. Bylaws that require third and final reading. Bylaw number 1531 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 1037, the comprehensive zoning bylaw for Town of Essex.
Moved by Councillor Caxero, Councillor Bundy. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Bylaw 1539 being the confirming bylaw from the July 4th regular council meeting.
Councillor Vokes and Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Bylaws that require first, second, and third reading this evening. Bylaw number 1542 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement and letter of understanding between the town and the Minister of Transportation with respect to Hanlon Road extension.
Could I just go to Mr. Nepsey first? Okay, he had his hand up, I guess. Okay.
Through your worship, thank you. I just wanted to clarify a little bit about what this letter agreement is with the town of Essex and the Ministry of Transportation. What it's for is for the future widening of Highway 3. Where we struggled in the past was it was always agreed that when the highway was widened, we would lose Victoria as an on-off to the highway, and the Highway 3 would go over the existing Victoria, so you'd have an over-ramp, I guess. It was agreed at that time, with the loss of that connection, we would be forcing our residents to Maidstone, County Road 8 and County Road 23 as access and exit off the highway. As part of that, then, we noted we wanted our residents to travel on collector roads. So we didn't want them, driving down Oak and Park and cutting through those subdivisions. So it was agreed that the extension of Hanlon, from where it's currently sitting, over to the Arner was basically part of the deal of the expansion, along with extending South Talbot and connecting to behind the Tim Hortons and the McDonald's, and redoing South Talbot to more of a promenade street with a full-on trail in that existing right-of-way as they expanded the highway. So that's all part of the package. What's happened as of recent, they've secured the funding within their budget. I'm not sure how it sits, but I think it's been moved as far as priority lists go, to pay for a portion of that Hanlon extension. So that's what this agreement is talking about. It's talking about basically that they would help out with the environmental assessment and help out with a portion of the construction of the actual rural cross-section of the highway. So not full on, not curbs, gutters, and everything else, but a portion of it. So because they note the importance of having that Hanlon connection if they're removing the Victoria access. So I just want council to be aware of what that agreement is for.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship to Chris. Is the percentage noted as far as what portion they will be paying?
Through your worship, not the percentage, no, but it talks about a rural cross-section. So it has to go through the process of the alignment and what type of road, but the agreement notes that their support will be there for that.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. Now a motion. Councillor Vokes, Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Bylaws for first and second reading this evening. Bylaw number 1541, need a bylaw to provide for the back drain.
By Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
And bylaw number 1543, being the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of this July 18th regular council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Snides, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries. For adjournment, Deputy Mayor Malas, Councillor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Have a good evening, everyone.